I have walked the streets alone. 20 years I've been on my own. To be hated and despised, no one to sympathize. But there's one great thing I know, you can say I told you so. We've got a bright place in the sun, where there's love for everyone, and every nigger is a star. Every nigger is a star. Who will deny that you and I and every nigger is a star? Every nigger's a star. Every nigger's a star. Every nigger's a star. Every nigger's a star. We've got a bright place in the sun, where there's love for everyone, and every nigger is a star. Every nigger is a star. Who will deny that you and I and every nigger is a star? Every nigger's a star. Yes, every nigger is a star. Every nigger's a star. Yes, every nigger is a star. Every nigger's a star.
This Giants defense is heating up at the right time, and this is the type of defense that can carry you to the Super Bowl.
Anything else you want to say about the Lions?
Yeah, you know, Nate and I were both very big on the Lions this whole week. I'm not giving up yet, but I look at this schedule. At Cowboys on Monday Night Football, and then home against a red-hot Packers team. For a whole season, I've been pushing. I can't get off the bandwagon yet.
You compared them to Greek yogurt, right?
I did.
What's the Greek yogurt comparison?
The Greek yogurt reference is that you've had regular yogurt, and then you see this Greek yogurt, you're like, it's nothing special. And then week after week, you finally give in and say, it is special.
Yeah.
That's how I felt, but they might be regular yogurt.
Yeah, the problem is you leave that Greek yogurt for weeks in the fridge, it goes past the expiration date, gets rotten.
You're right.
I don't know. That was like the inevitable Lions loss you've been waiting for, Nate, in the sense that there was no magic at the end.
No
there was no
Riddick
running
was
game.
huge, though.
Of course it was, but they haven't had Theo Riddick for a few weeks, you know? Like, they just didn't have the magic at the end. You knew eventually it was going to run out.
You know, we've been complimenting the Lions, and we've been complimenting Matt Stafford, and rightfully so.
Yeah,
having an amazing year. Playing without Calvin Johnson, playing without the running game, all these different things. Now them finally having control of the NFC North. Forget what has happened up until this point. Forget about the 8 fourth-quarter comebacks, the NFL record. This is the time. This is the time where you look in the mirror the last 2 weeks and say, you know what? We have to win this in order to show not everybody who we are, but us. We need to show us who we are. So I don't care what happened up to this point. I don't care where they are in the standings. I don't care how they fell from 2 to 4 in the playoffs. They need to win right now and prove that they can go out there and beat teams decisively and not some fourth quarter comeback. Because that's what I was waiting on yesterday. I'm like, all right, here we go again. But guess what? It didn't happen. So now you got to go out there. You got to get a running game. You got to pass the ball decisively. And you have to win games in the first quarter.
You know who knows what time it is? Aaron Rodgers. He knows what
I was going to ask you.
I know really he knows because I've been there. I looked in his division.
You've been Stafford's biggest proponent.
Yeah.
At Cowboys versus Packers, final 2 weeks. They need to win these games. I've been all in on the Lions. I don't have confidence right now. Do you?
I wouldn't have confidence. He's 1-22 on the road against teams with a winning record.
Stafford
that is staggering.
Oh, man.
I'll talk to the team as if I'm still on the team. You know, I try to be objective about it. But I'll say this. In order for the Lions to win moving forward, it isn't on Stafford. It is on the skill players. And by that, I mean the wide receivers, tight end, and running back groups. If you guys cannot help your quarterback, and I mean be very productive, not just 60 yards on the ground and 110 total in there. No. You guys need to have big-time games moving forward because that's the only way you're going to beat the Cowboys. That's the only way you're going to beat the Packers. So it's up to the skill players. Skill players, for the Lions, it's on you.
Lions fall to 9-5. They had a 5-game winning streak. That, of course, snapped. And now I think that they're just 1 game ahead of the Packers for the NFC North lead. And with more developing stories from around the league, we welcome in our very own NFL Network insider.
Is a group that can take this team deep into the postseason.
Yeah, and I'm looking at the flip side of that. We've talked a bit about them, but We've spent a lot of time on this channel and on this show talking about the Detroit Lions and Matt Stafford and MVP and all this stuff, and it could all go up in smoke if they lose these next 2 games against the Cowboys and the Packers, which I think they're going to be underdogs. Even at home against the Packers, if the Packers keep winning, I can't see them being the favorites in that game. So, again,
They're not. Those are 2 ridiculously brutal matchups.
On the road Monday night against the Cowboys, and the Cowboys looking to put a stamp on the season. So
they could do it.
I look at Matthew Stafford, and I see next week he grew up in Highland Park.
Right.
Matthew Stafford is a Dallas kid.
Yeah.
He's going back to his hometown with what might be his entire career's reputation at stake. Like, he's 0-2 in the playoffs all the time. He goes in and he beats the Cowboys on Monday night and wins a division title for the Detroit Lions. Matthew Stafford is that guy, and we could stop talking about
Let's
it.
take it a step further, the behind the cameras, which I love. Scott Linehan, who coached Matt Stafford, who knows Matt Stafford, who understands what type of player he is. There's a lot of storylines to this game that's going to make it very interesting.
It's a very good possibility, and I hate saying it, very good, that the Detroit Lions do not make the playoffs.
Of course there is.
And they were, last week, they were the number 2 seed, hosting a divisional round game with a bye in the wild. I love this game.
Listen, we love to give credit where credit's due, and we toss it around quite a bit, but I'm not going to write off my lines. But I will say this. Last week, you put them at the kids' table, and I was mad at you. And I said, man, I can't believe you're doing that. NFC North. And you said, no, let's look at the season. Let's look at the way they've been winning. Let's look where they're at, and let's look who's breathing down their neck, which is the Green Bay Packers. So I have to credit you, KB. You called it. They're in a position right now where they're not convincing us that they are ready for the postseason.
6 points.
Now, I have faith in them, but they haven't convinced us quite yet.
And I think anytime we're at the table, you feel one of us start to reach for the newspaper. That means you're about to talk about a New York team, all right? And I'm talking about these guys. Those Detroit Lions on this crazy run of Stafford comebacks, they scored 6 points, all right? And we're talking about, Dallas is great, and Zeke's jumping into the bucket and everything. That's great. But these guys beat them twice. They beat them in their house. They beat them in their own house. This is the scariest team in the NFC to me. Outside of Dallas, great. You don't want to play them. They're the front runner. This is the team you do not want to see. And, Kay, we've talked about this, the running game. Last time the Giants won a Super Bowl.
32 out of 32, 2011, and they won the Super Bowl.
Worst running game in the league.
But, Schrager,
right?
you're our resident New York pulse of
what do you
the
think
fan
of this?
base.
Take the paper, Schrags.
Let's see
Keep
here.
the newspaper industry alive.
Let's see
They look
here.
great,
Governor
Eli Manning,
Cuomo,
we
2nd
always
Avenue subway.
Stop. He plays up to his competition, especially late. You don't want to face him, and he did sweep the Cowboys.
Yeah, and look, Eli's never had the number 1 seed divisional, home field advantage. Eli wins it like this. He's going to beat you, in the wild card round at home, and then go on the road and beat you and do it in the playoffs. So Eli Manning is, of all these quarterbacks, it's Eli and Rodgers that have that playoff experience in the NFC. Because if you go down the list of them, Matt Ryan has been to an NFC Championship game and lost, but he's also lost several other playoff games. And then you've got guys like Dak Prescott, who we don't know how he plays in January. Jameis Winston, we don't know. Matt Stafford's never won a playoff game.
Might have Rodgers.
And now you've got Rodgers and Eli lurking, and you suddenly say, okay, well, at some point it's who's got the big game experience, and I'll hitch my wagon to those guys.
You talk about hitching your wagon to somebody with big game experience. Russell Wilson and the Seahawks. I know we're not talking about them. I know they haven't been impressive as of lately, but let's keep your mind on the Seahawks, a team that has been to the top of the mountain and knows what it feels like to play.
Can Seattle go on the road though and beat that Dallas team?
That's a good question. These last couple weeks they're going to have to show us something.
And can the Lions go on the road and beat a winning team? Like I said, that stat I can't get over it. 1 and 22 on the road.
Stafford going home, Kay.
I know.
Speaking of playing on the road, the Raiders.
AFC Raiders.
They were on the road in San Diego up against the Chargers trying to click.
It's Christmas Eve, all who believe Santa is here, but once a year, all girls and boys dream of new toys. Soundly they sleep, wishes to keep. Jing, jing-a-ling, come hear us sing. Breaths on the door, stockings and more. Magic is thrice, those who are lost. Snow in the air, laughter to share. Family and friends, season to cleanse. Joyful and dear, end of the year. 'Tis a very fine and special Christmas. 'Tis a very fine and special Christmas. It's Christmas Eve.